Ladies and gents, welcome back. The Georgia Guidestones are no more. They got blown up yesterday morning. You might be asking, what are the Georgia Guidestones? Well, it's hard to explain unless you just get right into it. So let's have a look. I put this tweet out yesterday because this is eerie to me. Only a month ago, I called for the Georgia Guidestones to be taken down. I mentioned them in my video this morning as well. This was yesterday's video. Later that morning, I found out they'd been destroyed, Eerie. And the original tweet here is, I was just throwing out a gaffe there. I wasn't being serious, but if statues and monuments are being taken down, can we start with this one? And I tagged it with the World Economic Forum, Georgia Guidestones, and Klaus Schwab. And well, somebody did that work for us. And yeah, Kerblooey blew up one of the Guidestones, and that was that. They later leveled the rest of them. Now, this is a contentious issue. I'm going to get into what they were here, but just briefly, I put this out there saying, unearth that time capsule on the site. There are 7.5 billion people that the makers of this want dead that would like to know what's in there. And apparently there was a time capsule. Now, here's an article here that I pulled up this morning, basically from the U.S. Sun. What do the Georgia Guidestones say? Well, so why were so many people upset about the Georgia Guidestones? And well, the Guidestones were destroyed in a mysterious blast on July 6, 2022, but they were quite controversial in what they had to say. And especially for a lot of religious people, it's almost blasphemous to have like the 10 commandments in a different way, the 10 commandments of the new age. Well, here's what this monument was. What do the Georgia Guidestones say? The 19-foot tall, it's 6 meters for the people who don't follow the imperial measurements anymore, was inscribed with 10 guidelines in 8 different languages: English, Spanish, Russian, Chinese, Arabic, Hebrew, Hindi, and Swahili. The cohesive message is located on each face of the 4 upright stones and were regarded as guidelines for humanity. An explanatory tablet was also situated just a few feet from the west of the monument, explaining the purpose of the Guidestones. One notable inscription says, "Let these guidestones be guidestones to an age of reason," as if we had no reason up until when these things take their effect. It also lists various facts such as size, weight, origin, and astronomical features of the landmark in rural Georgia. The 10-part message on the vertical stones is what proved controversial, with some claiming the commandments were instructions for an incoming new world order. And this is where it comes into all the Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum stuff, because we know currently what their plans are. They're not quiet about it. But here's what the inscriptions read. The very top, the very first instruction is maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now, for anyone to attain this, their at current rate would have to be 7.5 billion people leave us. And leave us in the traditional sense is what I'm saying here. And to have 500 million people, 7.5 billion people would no longer have a place on this planet, as per the inscription on these stones. So if you don't get a gist of where this is going already, this is pretty controversial, to say the least, especially when it's shrouded in such secrecy. And we'll get into that. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Well, diversity is a buzzword these days, but this was erected in 1980. Now, guide reproduction wisely, that sounds a lot like eugenics. It sounds a lot like eugenics for a lot of people, especially from contemporary language of 1980 when this was written. Quite, again, controversial. Unite humanity with a living new language, so one language for the rest of the world that's left behind after 7.5 billion people are no longer with us. Rule, passion, faith, tradition, all things with tempered reason, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts, let all nations rule internally, resolving internal disputes in a world court. Oh, okay, here comes that world government aspect of it. Avoid petty laws and useful officials. Yeah, we'd all love that. Balance personal rights with social duties. Oh, so personal rights and social duties, they have a thing involved here now. They don't want your rights to get in the way of social duties. Okay. Prize truth, beauty, love, and seeking harmony with the infinite, whatever they mean by that. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. We see that going on right now in the Netherlands as they're trying to grab farmland to leave room for nature. And Chris Kubas, executive vice president of the Alberton Granite Association, which has a role in maintaining the Guidestones, says the instructions were meant for a future population after a cataclysmic event, like a pandemic or a massive economic collapse, perhaps? Don't know. Chris Kubas, executive vice president of the Alberton Granite Association, said, yeah, they're meant for the future population after cataclysmic. I don't know why they have this written twice. 4 different names of ancient languages were inscribed near the top of the stones: Babylonian, cuneiform, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. The mysterious origin of the Guidestones is fueled in conspiracy as well, as it's creating popularity amongst tourists. The huge monument was erected in 1980 after being commissioned by a man using the pseudonym Robert C. Christian. You know, when things are erected in secrecy, it breeds all kinds of questions, and people often wonder why. This wouldn't be a monument that would be cheap to establish or cheap to erect and put into place. So obviously something of extreme importance to some people. But let's get into it. So the World Economic Forum, for those that might be asking the question, was established in 1971. So the timeline does fit to if the World Economic Forum was behind something like this. I don't know who else would be. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have any ideas. But here's footage of what went on. So this is all under security footage every day, 24/7. But this is all that anybody saw of the incident. They saw a car driving away from the monument. Okay, a blurry video of a car. Here's dual angle of the explosion here, and it's really interesting because if you look at this, this does not seem like a amateur explosion at all, and I'll get into that in a moment. But yes, of course, it was demolished. Later on, they continued to demolish the rest of it. But I have a video here. I'll leave a link in the description down below. This is from the Beyond the Press channel, where they get into how difficult it is to explode a piece of granite like this. They're trying this on concrete, and they're having a hard time with grenades and other such explosive items. So what they end up doing is they have this other device where they pack a jug of water and C4, an extreme amount of C4, and then blow it out in a shaped charge. And this looks a lot more like what we saw in the security footage. Boom. So yeah, them proving on that channel that this type of explosion is not done by amateurs. Somebody knew what they were doing here. And, well, the question is why? But the remainder of the Georgia Guidestones are being demolished following the mysterious explosion that destroyed one of the pillars. funny that no investigation, not a lot of forensics work. They just we gotta knock him over, yeah, and maybe destroy some of the evidence in the process. No idea what's going on there. All that security footage and no footage of anyone walking up and placing these explosives. So that's a little suspect. And now the Georgia Guidestones, the mysterious granite slabs covered in eugenics, population control, and other globalist aims, have been fully demolished. Take this however you want, but high-fiving over this one for days. I'm high-fiving over this one for days. Nice. And yeah, again, never paid attention to the Georgia Guidestones until they got blown up today. It's creepy population control stuff. Sounds like the stuff from Bill Gates and what he said recently, namely this maintain humanity under 500 million. Anyway, that's all I have for you this morning on this story. Let me know what you think in the description, in the comments down below. Do you think this was Bill Gates? Do you think it was him and his daddy who was we know now was friends with Margaret Sanger, I think her name was. The lady has started Planned Parenthood and was known eugenicist, someone who wanted to get rid of particular populations on the planet in favor of other populations on the planet. Otherwise, yeah, leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking.